All right, Shanley, give me an example of an angle. Who can help her out? Yeah. Yep, that works. QTS or STQ. Who can give me another example? Yeah, Maddie. Perfect. Yep, those would be examples. Okay. Here's all the examples that you could use. All right. And it does tell us that we can use angle T. Okay. And the reason that we can use angle T in this instance is because angle T is going to be angle 1 and 2 combined. Okay. You might have a couple other examples, but here are just some. Okay. So in this example, we can say angle T because it's both angles combined. Okay, but we can't say angle T when describing just angle 2 or just angle 1. Okay, when we talk about angles, we're going to talk about it's the measure of an angle. It's usually going to be given in degrees. Won't worry about this. Here are going to be the examples of angles that we will have. So I think some of these it should ring a bell. Okay, when we have an acute angle, it's going to be greater than 0 degrees, less than 90. A right angle is always going to be 90 degrees and be represented by that box. And an obtuse is always going to be greater than 90, less than 180. And then a straight angle is going to measure 180 degrees. So that's going to be an example of those opposite rays that we talked about last week. All right. This is going to be so you can see it closer, okay? But the angles that I wrote on the board, so angle WXV, angle ZXY, and angle ZXW, I want you to tell me the measure in degrees of those angles. And then I want you to tell me if it's acute, obtuse, right, or a straight angle. So find the degree of those angles. All right, and then I'm going to add one more. YXW, angle YXW. All right, Rocco, what'd you get for the first angle of angle WXV? what did you get for the angle value? For, oh yes, 30. And then you said what kind of angle? Acute, perfect. Ellie, what'd you get for z, x, y? It's gonna be 50, okay? And what kind of angle is that? It's also acute, okay? Tanner, what's zxw? Get 100? And what kind of angle is that? Obtuse. And then Jordan, what'd you get in the last one? 150? And what kind of angle is that? Obtuse. Perfect. Can someone give me what would be an example of a name of an angle that's going to be a straight angle? Yeah. For a straight angle, the name. What would the name? Yeah, yxv, or if you said angle vxy, that would be an example. Perfect. Okay, do we have any questions there? All right. We won't do that again. Okay. So just know, when we talked about tick marks last week, okay, just know congruent angles are going to be marked, okay, in a similar way where they'll have angle marks, okay, and arc marks is what it's called. But just know that that tells us that they are congruent, okay, that they have the same value. All right, because you will see that a lot. So in this case, that is angle ABC and angle DEF. They are congruent. Okay. And like we talked last week with the segment addition postulate, just know the angle addition postulate is very similar to what we talked about then. Okay. So here to be an example of that. So just know that that angle of PQS plus the measure of angle SQR equals the measure of the whole angle. So that would be PQR. Okay? Whenever it has the M in front of this angle, that's just saying the measure of. Okay, so if you see that M, it's just saying the measure of. It doesn't mean midpoint. It's just telling us the measure of the angle. So try not to get that confused. All right, so if we're given this example right here, okay, we have the measure of angle DEG, that equals 115 degrees. And then the measure of angle DEF equals 48 degrees. We want to find the measure of FEG, okay? So when we do this, okay, and I'm looking at the whole angle, okay, we're saying the whole angle of DEG, okay, that's going to be 115 degrees. All right, and then it tells us that DEF, okay, this angle right here, is 48 degrees. All right, and we need to find this angle, okay? So if we are given the whole angle and just one of the angles, what should we do to solve for that missing angle? Yeah. Yeah, we just need to do 115 minus 48, okay? Set it up just like this, where it'll be 115 equals 48 plus x, right? I don't know why the x isn't solving. I don't know why this is messed up a little bit. Okay, but you just subtract those and you should get 67 degrees. Okay. All right, what about this one? Do this one on your own. All right, Crocker, what did you get for this one? We all get 62? Okay, you should just subtract 121 minus 59 and get 62 degrees. Perfect. Okay. Now, if we have, when we talk about angles, okay, an angle bisector is going to be important to recognize what that does, okay? So an angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. So, does it show an example of that? Yeah. So if I have angle LJM, and then JK bisects LJM, okay, then it creates two congruent angles, okay? What? Okay. So let's say in this example, what if LJM, let's say the angle was 60 degrees, okay? And JK bisects it, all right? What would our angle of KJM be? So if angle LJM was 60 degrees, what would angle KJM be? Yeah, 30, okay? And then what would LJK be? Yeah? Yeah, they're both 30 degrees, okay? You got to know that the angle bisector bisects it in half, okay? That's the thing a lot of people forget. So just know, it bisects it in half, so it creates two congruent angles. All right? Go ahead and try this one. When we're actually using finding x and using algebraic terms. Okay, the biggest thing that we have to recognize is if Km bisects angle JKL, then what does that tell us? Yeah, it creates two congruent angles, okay? So those two congruent angles are going to be our angles of JKM and MKL. Okay, so if we're given that JKM is 4x plus 6, and we're given that angle MKL is 7x minus 12, what do we need to do to solve for x? What do we just do with those? What do we do? What did you do, Jordan? Yeah, you just equal them together, okay? So when finding x, since it's an angle bisector, we can just set them equal to each other, all right? And then we just solve from there. So we can add our 12 over, okay? And then we can subtract our 4x over, and we should get x equals 6. All right, it didn't tell us to find x. Okay, it told us that we need to find the measure of angle JKM. So then you plug x in. All right, and you should have got 30. Okay, so JKM equals 30 degrees. All right, go ahead and do one more example.